yeah, then we left off with our favorite performances of this season. And you were about to say about...
Oh, yeah. Some performances for me that I definitely would love to see nominated would be Amanda Artrou, who played Taya in Hedda Gabler.
Totally agree.
I thought she was awesome. Very good. I thought John Scahill was excellent in Dog Sees God. Of course, I'm not being biased or anything, but of course I thought Patrick Riley was amazing in Mr. Marmalade. And I'm sure there's lots of others. I just, and this one, for sure, for Richard III, to me, her Lady Anne was just absolutely stunning and sizzling. And of course, Matt Cadigan as Cyrano de Bergerac is one I won't forget anytime soon. But
and Rebecca Patty as Hedda Gabler.
Oh, okay.
Because she was on fire.
I was all going to turn into a compliment.
I know, like circle jerk.
Yeah, we started saying people's names in here, so I was like unsure at first. But I mean, as far as supporting goes, I think if anyone, which we've had conversation before, he might have taken himself out of the running, but I think Chuck should be nominated for supporting on Cyrano, just on the work he did as the Spanish general. Alone, you know what I mean? And then like, to not only have played that part in that play where, you like, there's all this backstory that was created of him, like, impregnating a soldier and then killing her. Killing her, She's like, it's your baby! And he shot her, Well, so, like, to play that and then also play, like, the flamboyant guy in the first act, with Rusty, and it's just like the range of that work in that show is like. But like I said, he might have hurt himself because he did 15 plays in the calendar year. So what are you going to do?
But I agree.
A dynamic duo between him and Rusty.
But still a lot.
Yeah, they did Richard too.
Yeah, Richard and Cyrano. The duo.
Yeah, Chuck really was exceptional in that play.
Well, thank you. Let's talk about what it was like to have these roles. What it was like going through these things. Hedda Gabler, it's a big one, and you probably have a lot to say about getting on that one.
I could talk for days. I could honestly talk for days because no, I'm not going to do it because Judy's
talk for a minute.
That's
something. Just
Jesus Christ. Well, Judy's main focus was getting the. I mean, maybe it wasn't her main focus, but one of her biggest feats, I guess, that she had to overcome was integrating all of the psychological aspects of all of the characters and how they communicated and behaved around one another, and just having to dig that deep into someone that was, that I had a lot of stuff in common with was kind of rough because I have some not so great qualities that I found that I shared with that character, but I mean I feel like that made it easier for me to. It's hard talking about it, but it was my favorite thing that I've ever done. So.
And to be completely counter to that, someone a bit on the brighter side, how was Argonne?
It was fun. I mean, poop jokes all day. Honestly. You can't really give me a more fun role than that, Oh yeah, that was like right up my alley, right? I don't know. It was that show was crazy. I mean, working with Paul. I don't know. I have a different relationship with Paul, so I like him definitely on the Paul train, cause everything he's let me do, it's been awesome, and good work comes from it, so but I mean, this it was interesting trying to not being sick, but believing you're sick, and but then you're not sick, and at the same time being the hardest thing about that show, though, honestly, was the opening monologue. This whole monologue about the kinds of medicine you take and the amount of money that they're worth, but that amount of money means nothing to modernized American audiences. So, saying these numbers, and people are like, "What the?" Looking at the audience for parts and not talking to them, and talking to myself, and trying to eat grapes and shit on the table. I'm just like, what the hell am I doing? But But yeah, I mean, again, just like can't say enough. Like fart and poop jokes. You know what I mean? Like get to come in and do a scene where like Crystal looks like she's gonna give me a big rusty nasty enema. That's I'll do that all day. Right? Like I'm down. Like, so
Wonderful.
Yeah, put that back in everyone's minds. Crystal does that for fun. Yeah, you know, it was good stuff.
Well, we definitely can't leave out Richard III. I mean, very strong classic role, which it's almost taboo to do.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. Unless I were to do it as a poop joke. Maybe Richard. It was a really rough role. I definitely think out of any role that I've had, it really pushed my limits. It was wonderful working with Beulah and a wonderful cast, and I feel like any really good role, especially Shakespeare roles, it's like I felt like I could do that for another year and still learn so much more about Richard. I felt like at the end of our 3-week run, or 4 weeks, 3 weeks, I was still only like this much knowing about Richard's psyche. I mean, he was so convoluted. I mean, but that's the thing. It's just like any type of Shakespearean character, any type of real character. We have all these complexities. No one's black and white. It's all this kind of gray areas. It's just there are black people and there are white people and some gray people.
But what is the first line of that play, John Martin?
Yeah, what is the first line of it?
Something about hairy kneecaps. I hate you guys. So anyway, it was a wonderful experience. It definitely pushed my limits, and I would definitely, if I got the chance to do the role again, I'd do it in a heartbeat.
And from that, I just want to transition into something kind of new on the stage. Was Mr. Marmalade.
Psychotic children are new.
How was Lucy?
Like repeatedly ripping my soul out and tearing it to shreds. Yeah, in a really sweet way. It was a gamut of I'm so happy and now I'm soul crushingly sad and I'm happy again and I know roller coaster is an overused cliche term, but it really was that. And it was hard, but incredibly enjoyable. When I hear a baby cry still, like in my apartment complex, I still feel like I'm dying inside. In a great way. But also in a really sad way. I'm not sure I'm answering this well. No, you're answering it
fantastic. As whatever you can.
That's the most fun I've ever had and the most sad I've ever been. That does not help, Nick! Catch that!
Oh,
ew! That was awful. Oh. Thanks, Nick.
Well, let's see what we have on here. Well, we still have some time. Let's just go around the room and say what are some of your hopes or expectations in theater for this year, for this next season coming up? So let's start with you.
It's pretty obvious that theater is taking a real hard hit. Some places are closing up. A lot of things are going. It seems like it's like everybody's taking real hard hits. So but out of that, I think we're going to get a resurgence and kind of the original, one of like theater's real base aspect, and that's going back to, not that people are going to go back to the whole street performing that, but really a connection with smaller people, smaller groups, and getting back to really getting to connect and going to real terms and not doing these, theater is all about these $1 million shows with thousands of actors and like we need a house with 1,000 people in it. It's like it has to be super bright lights, it has to be Broadway or it's not theater. And I think it's going to start. I hope that because I'm seeing it happen, and I've been seeing it happen over the past couple of years, but I hope it continues to really like pull. So because the theater was for the common people, and I hope that it keeps going in that aspect and more and more people start getting in. Like I worked on a children's show, and it was great to see kids jazzed about theater and coming and either being entertained or being in the theater. Mm-hmm. And so I hope that this push keeps happening.
Mm-hmm.
I just hope to see a whole bunch of different theater, because the reason theater is going downhill is because so many people aren't coming. But if you do different theater, and if you do like different styles and something that's new and risky like Mr. Marmalade, and something that's old and classic like Hedda Gabler or Merry Wives of Windsor or Richard III, something that we all know, and play it different. So you target a different audience. Like with Cyrano, we got so many people out because of the fighting. Because it was so cool, you know? I expect theater to be more challenging to the actors and the directors and target their audiences correctly so that more people come, because that's where the money is.
I would hope that, you know, since we are suffering through this really big economy hit, theaters closing, etc., that it really compels local artists in the community to not be as cruel to each other and competitive with each other, and this brings us closer together to work with the great and established and the young and up and coming, because there's a lot of great talent out there, and I feel that a lot of the people sitting in this room, if not everybody, is somebody who has a really good potential to do, you know, to become the new, you know, we need new people as well as seasoned folks who've been doing it for lots and lots of years, but I really hope that we can have that idea of working together as a community rather than against each other, and I think that's something that happens in theater communities a lot, and I'm hoping that for the future for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be great if in Sonoma County there was actually just one big fat theater company that had a bunch of different side theater companies that were able to, you know, do what they kind of do. You know, if you have Odyssey, or you have Narrow Way, or 6th Street, but it's under a big umbrella. There's been different attempts in trying to organize all the different branches of theater, because we are so widespread and we have these little, you know, niches all in Sonoma County. But it'd be nice if we could all be together and be in the same level, so that way we know kind of what we're doing with our theater, and but still being able to do what we want to do, and not be like, well, we need to make money, so let's do a show that we know we can make a crap load of money, but it's not going to be really that good, and we don't really care about it, but we know people will come out to see it. And it'd be great if, you know, it doesn't matter what show you do, as long as you're doing it with the right intent, and, you know, you're focusing on getting people to come out and check out the show. I think that's the most important. But still, also getting those people, still being able to push that envelope of, this is theater, this is crazy. Like, I can't believe I just saw that. You know, because I think that, especially at these times right now, when you look at the internet, nothing is sacred. Nothing is sacred. You can find any sort of horrible, offensive thing on the internet with a couple of clicks. It's that easy. And I think that people really distance themselves from that, but when they come and see live theater, and they actually see, you know, somebody beating the baby down, or somebody, you know, racism happening right in front of their face, and they feel the energy, or, you know, nudity, whatever, it's right there in front of them. And I think people forget that when they come and see theater, it's an experience. It's an experience to be lived and seen. You see the same theater show 6 times, it's not going to be the same every single time. It's going to be different every single night. And I think a lot of people who aren't recognizing theater.
Yes.
Yeah.
And speaking of differences,
yes.
Let's talk about the differences happening in Egypt right now.